Hi, and thanks for joining. If you're new here, I'm Wendy, and this is Nina's Jewels. My husband and I buy things at garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores, just about anywhere we can find things to sell online and flip for a profit. If that's content you're interested in, you're in the right place. Today's video is going to be what sold for April 2nd through 8th. This has been the best sales week for us for the entire year of 2023. So let's dive right in and find out what we sold. The first thing that we sold was a Disney Pixar Cars 3 Jackson Storm RC car. This was just the replacement remote only, so it didn't even include the actual RC car. Just the remotes will sell because if someone has that toy and they lose the remote, they're going to come to eBay or another platform perhaps looking for that remote control. So if you come across those in a thrift store toy bag, which is where we got this item, don't just pass on listing that. List that item because we sell stuff like this all the time. It is worth your time to list it. They don't always sell fast. It is something that might sit around for a while, but when someone comes and looks for it, they usually will pay full price for it. They don't even haggle with us on it usually, and it's an easy sale. So this we did get out of a thrift store toy bag for 18 cents, and it sold for our full asking price of $12.99. So a good profit on that for just paying 18 cents. Next up was something that we got in the Goodwill bins. This was a Scholastic Scooby-Doo 12-book phonics set, and it also had a cassette. So it was kind of a vintage item. It did not have the year listed on it, or I didn't include that information in the title because I didn't have room, but I do tend to pick up any phonics programs that I can find because those will usually sell. This we paid $1.18 for, and it sold for our asking price of $33.24, which was our asking price minus a promotion that we were running on books this particular month. Next up was a really random item that we sold. This was called Bits and Pieces Quick Sketch Pro. It was an easy tracing drawing toy. So you would set it up and then put art on one side of it, and somehow it would allow you to trace that art on the other side, and it had like we were able to get a picture of an example and everything of how it worked. It was new in the package, and we actually got this from someone who was giving away this huge bag of craft and toy items on the Nextdoor app. And it had a lot of value in that free bag. And actually Nextdoor is a place where I find a lot of free items. Not items that have like a lot of significant value, but we get a lot of magazines and other just random free items. That's kind of my honey hole for free items. I try to check the Nextdoor app at least once a week. I try to check it daily, but I don't always remember. So that's my go-to place for finding free items is Nextdoor. So we didn't pay anything for this item, and it sold for $11.99, which was our full asking price, and it was not in our store for very long. We only had it listed for a couple of months. Next up was a adult medium short sleeve t-shirt. It had a graphic of a Hawaii license plate on it. We got this in a storage unit that we purchased. We purchased the whole unit for $30. We broke down our per item cost at 24 cents each, and this t-shirt sold for $11.98 on offer to buyer. Next up was a pair of Nike Youth indoor soccer shoes. We found these in the Goodwill bins. We paid just 67 cents for each of the items that we got in the bins that day. And we sold these shoes for $17.16. And I think that was on a best offer. We got positive feedback on that purchase. Next up was a lot of 2 wooden puzzles. I put down that they were mystery shapes and that they were new, and then you also see that I have read in the title. We got these out of a thrift store toy bag, and they were both new, and both of the puzzles were in sealed plastic bags. But the way these puzzles are sold, normally they would be in shrink wrap on the outside of the box, and then there would have been a sticker on the outside of that box that would have said what the actual puzzle was. But someone had removed that shrink wrap, so I did not know what the actual design of the puzzle was because somebody had removed that shrink wrap. So they were technically new, like they had never been put together, and I knew all the pieces were there, but I didn't know what the puzzles, like once you had them put together, what they actually formed into. But I did know based on my research that what came in these little boxes were puzzles that went into the shapes of different animals. And from what I could tell from looking at the puzzles, it looked like both of the puzzles that we had were the same. It looked like that they created the same thing. So I put that in the listing and we just opted to do it as an auction. We started it at $9.99 and it ended up selling for $12.50. We had paid 22 cents for those out of a thrift store toy bag. Now I will say that wooden puzzles can go for very, very high, which is why I ended up doing this as an auction, because I knew that, it had the potential to go high, but what we had was kind of an unusual thing. So it didn't, go as high as I would have liked, but we still made money on it. So I was thrilled about that. But wooden puzzles are something that you definitely need to be on the lookout for. We have sold some wooden puzzles before that are larger and, better brands. We've sold those for like $80, $100. So definitely be on the lookout for wooden puzzles. Next up was a Biodomes headgear, adult one size UFC embroidered baseball cap. We got this at an estate sale. We paid $2.71 for it, and it sold for our full asking price of $28.99. We got really good positive feedback on this sale. Next up was a Gideon's Orange New Testament Pocket Bible from 1985. We got this at a thrift store. We paid 24 cents for it, and it sold for $9.49, which was our full asking price minus the book promotion that we were running this month. Next up was a pair of the Saltwater Kids sandals. We got a bunch of these in a shoe liquidation purchase that we made. We paid $9.09 for these sandals, and this pair sold for $42.99, which was our full asking price. Next up was a pair of Miller Lite men's lounge shorts. They were very well worn, so you can see that I have in the title that they had wash wear. But as I've mentioned in the past, liquor and beer, anything that has that kind of branding on it can be a bolo. So we did decide to list these, and I did not see any of these shorts listed, so I thought, somebody might be looking for them. They did eventually sell for $12, which was a best offer. We had gotten these out of a storage unit, so we only had 24 cents into them. So there was definitely room to sell them at a low price, and somebody was really happy with them and gave us positive feedback. Next up was another item we got out of a different storage unit. We had paid $75 for this storage unit, and our cost on items from this storage unit was just 28 cents. This was a set of 4 Target Home 15-inch round wood hand-painted Indonesian chargers. So like for a table setting chargers. These sold for $23.98 on offer to buyer, and like I said, we had paid just 28 cents for those. Next up was a Littlest Pet Shop short hair cat. This was a more rare figure, so we did decide to list this individually, and we listed it on auction. It had a lot of interest and ultimately sold for $21 on auction. We had paid just 22 cents for that out of a thrift store toy bag. Next up was a book called The Passionate Journey by Irving Stone. This was a vintage book from 1949. We got this at a thrift store for 51 cents, and it sold for $8.54 on our full asking price minus our promotion. Next up was a Munchkin Time Saver bottle warmer. It was brand new in the box. We got this at a garage sale for $5, and it sold for our full asking price of $29.99. We got positive feedback on that sale. Next up was a Starbucks ceramic holiday Christmas travel mug. It was missing the lid. We did get this at a garage sale for $1, and it sold for $13 even on best offer. We also got positive feedback on this one. Next up was a 24 by 20 limited edition print by the artist Larry Dyke. It had a certificate of authenticity with it. We got this from the other business that we own, which is a custom picture frame shop. This is old stock that business no longer sells, and this print sold for $55.98 on offer to buyer. We got positive feedback on that print. Next up was a 14 by 16 custom framed and autographed 8 by 10 photo of the baseball player Rusty Greer. We also got this from the other business that we own. This photo sold for $58 even on best offer, and we got positive feedback on that. Next up was a World Series Major League Baseball Texas Rangers versus San Francisco Giants pen. We got this at an estate sale for $2.40, and that pen sold for $15 even on best offer. Next up was a vintage 1982 Annie the Movie Swenson's Collector Glass. We got this at a garage sale for $3, and it sold for $15.98. That did take a long time to sell. Next up was a 1955 yearbook from Maine Township High School in Illinois. We got this at a garage sale for $1, and it sold for our full asking price of $27.54 minus our promotion. We sold a lot of books when we ran that promotion, and it was only 5% off, so we are definitely going to be running another book sale soon because that really got some books to move. Next up was another pair of the kids' saltwater sandals. This one was the Navy Surfer. These we had paid $9.09 for also, and this pair sold for $37.99, which was our full asking price. Next up was a black replacement TV remote control. This one was for an LG TV. This we got at a garage sale for 50 cents, and it sold for $10 even on best offer. Next up was such a random item that we found. This was a lot of two Buick and Oldsmobile complimentary tape cartridges. So they were actual like music compilation tapes that you got free with your purchase of either a Buick or an Oldsmobile. And they had, all kinds of like 80s music on it from different various artists. And so I guess when you bought a car, they gave you, this complimentary cassette with it. So we had comped them, and most people had them listed separately. Although one of them, I can't remember if it was the Buick or the Oldsmobile, was harder to find. But I decided to lot them together. I thought that would make it a stronger seller, and it did sell very, very quickly. We had paid 54 cents for this at the thrift store, and it sold very quickly for $15.98 on offer to buyer. Next up was a 2001 Avon White Porcelain Angel Votive Candle Fragrance Oil Diffuser. We got this out of one of the storage units that we purchased. We paid just 28 cents for it, and it sold for $24.99. That was our full asking price. Next up was another replacement remote control. This one was a Pioneer TV DVD remote control. We got this out of a thrift store bag of remotes, which we buy when we see them. If there are some brands in that bag that look promising, we'll buy the bag for the right price, especially if we can get it on half price day. This we paid just 27 cents for, and this remote sold for $9 even on best offer. Next up was a brand new sealed copy of The Lost World Jurassic Park. It had a holographic card on it, and it had a watermark on it. So the watermark is something that we usually try to put in the title. If it is a sealed VHS and it has that, that is something that will help it to sell if it's a vintage VHS. This we got at a garage sale for $1, and it sold for $18.99. That was our full asking price. Next up was our biggest sale of this week, and so far the biggest sale of April. I think it will continue to be the biggest sale of April. This was such a great sale. And we have another one of these prints, and somebody is watching it. So I'm hoping that it will sell soon. This was a 22 by 19 limited edition signed print of the DeVilla Brothers by the artist James Bama. This sold for $517.48 on offer to buyer. We got this from the other business that we own. And James Bama is a definite Bolo. If you ever see any of his artwork, it is something to pick up. His artwork is extremely realistic. You will actually think it's a photograph, but it's actually a painting. And there are a lot of collectors of James Bama. So we are lucky that we have a lot of his prints from our old stock that we've been selling, and they have been very popular sellers, but they're quite expensive, so they do take a while to sell. But we do still have several more, including another one of these DeVilla Brothers ones. So we're hoping that that one will sell soon, because we like these really big sales. Next up was another good pickup. This was a 1998 Nintendo Toys R Us promo tape. This was a sneak peek at Pokemon. So this was actually a really rare VHS, so this was a really good find at the thrift store. We paid just 27 cents for it, and it sold super fast for $17.98 on offer to buyer. Next up was a lot of 3 Thomas the Tank Engine. It included Christmas Party, a Birdie video, and a Rusty video. Christmas Party seemed to be the one that I think got this to move, but we always sell Thomas the Tank Engine VHS really fast. When we list them, they are very popular. We got most of these at an estate sale, but we did get one, I think, at a thrift store. We were all in for these VHS at $2.13, and they sold for $22.38 on offer to buyer. Last, I'll go over all of the collectible cards that sold from my husband's personal collection. This week we sold 6 cards for a total dollar amount of $13.93. And last week I mentioned that I was adjusting my week to be in alignment with my spreadsheet so that I could provide you guys with more information. And I did that, so I have more information to share with you guys this week. This week we had a total number of sales of 33. Our average sale price was $35.70. Our sales totaled $1,178.10, and we profited $771.20. And like I mentioned, this has been the best week for us for all of 2023, so that's super exciting, and our sales continue to be really good. Over the last couple of weeks, sales have been great for us. So let us know how your sales have been. Have your sales been good? Have your sales been bad? Let us know in the comments below what you're experiencing with your sales. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know by hitting the like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you're not already subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel and lets YouTube know that you enjoy this content, and it really helps out the algorithm to help spread our video out to more people. Thanks so much for joining, and we will catch you on the flip side. Bye.